We joined EXP in 2019, and it was the best decision that we made that year. If you have questions on what it's like to be at this brokerage, reach out to us. Happy to chat. Let's get to the content. Welcome to the Solution of Real Estate podcast, where we believe, my name's Phil Sexton,
Jeff Sibbach.
We believe it's time to put the consumer first, that realtors need to step up, get better. And today, our conversation is wrapped around marketing. And actually the title is Marketing Tactics That Every Realtor Should Know. And we're going to dive into things that realtors that we see what they should stop doing, things that they should focus on doing, and then also like the listing side.
Well, we're going to focus because everybody wants to know about seller marketing, and we're going to talk about things to help your seller marketing out there. So
yes. So thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed that intro, leave us 5 stars on that app. That was a great intro, wasn't it, Adam?
Phil, will we be talking about the DOJ suing NAR today?
That's big news that came out today.
But we will be talking about it now?
We want to?
No.
Okay. Let's not
We're
talk
going to
about
talk about marketing.
But that's a big deal.
Big deal.
That is
All
like
right.
industry news that the DOJ is now suing NAR.
Yes.
I guess the one thing from a marketing standpoint that I learned is that if you have any marketing out there that hints, suggests, or insinuates that buyer representation is free, you might want to change that message.
Yeah, unless you want to be in the lawsuit.
Yes. So that's not free, right? There's a cost to that. So anyway, but moving on. Today we're going to talk about marketing, and we taught a class earlier this week. We have our series going inside of EXP World, and we talked about marketing in that class this week. Where what's interesting is just the conversations that happen during and after the class, and really our marketing classes in the beginning, it's about changing your mind.
Always. Well, mindset is because it's the most common thing we see what's wrong with realtor marketers.
Is that they just want to blast these?
Well, here's the thing:
they're looking for the magic postcard.
Yes, they're definitely always looking for the magic postcard. In case you don't know what the magic postcard is that, we've been teaching classes for 5 or 6 years now, and we see the disappointment on their faces when we tell them that it's harder than it looks.
But there's no magic postcard.
Because they're like, well, what do you write on your just sold postcard to make the phone ring is what I want to know. What is the one PPC ad that you do? And really, we just don't even like that whole idea because it's just not that easy, right? Like the thing is the challenge is because the industry continues to tell people, I got this one thing, do it. So they start to believe that they're going to hear
I've got the magic postcard. You know what? I call it core fact.
Exactly. Right. Yes. No, there's
or whatever the
exact,
product du jour is.
Right. We got this marketing.
We got a website tool that you just need to pay $29 a month for, and then your business is going to
I got a
explode.
Newsletter that we do that everybody uses, and
like $50 a month, and your business will explode.
Yeah. And the thing is we don't want you to fall prey to those pitches. And why we talk about things that we want you to help. I mean, I like to start with the things that we'd like you to stop.
Okay.
Right. Like to me, only because we're going to talk about better things. Okay. And most of them are consumer friendly, but because these are all tactics that the realtor community, I always think of that girl from Dallas, and she said that she worked for this real estate company and they were really good at marketing. So when I got the listing, we would then do our marketing. And she said we would start circle calling. We would just listed postcard. We do a just sold postcard. And then we did a newsletter. And those are not marketing for a seller.
Yes, well,
but the fact that she was like, that's what we do to market our houses.
Yeah.
And that is not marketing for houses.
Right.
And it's a weak attempt at you marketing for yourself because it's all of your energy then in your business is going towards to just generate you more business versus the focus of being on let me market while I sell my seller's house, or let me market while I do other things. Go ahead.
No, one of the stops that I have is let's stop telling consumers that the marketing we're doing for ourselves is for them.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
Because we see that often, is that when we talk to agents and their marketing for their property is really like, is a just listed postcard gonna sell? Is that like, do people wait in their mailbox for the mailman to show up and bring out like a postcard?
Let me tell you where it comes from.
A property that's in their neighborhood, so thankfully they can then buy that house.
Let me be that guy. So if you go to NAR, they just did a national study.
Okay.
They say that 7% of the time a neighbor or someone in the neighborhood buys the house.
Okay.
So they believe the just listed postcard, or they pitch to the seller using that statistic that neighbors sometimes, but the stat is that the 85% of people move within 3 miles of their house. They're just looking to change their house. But we all know that just listed postcard is for them to get listings, not to find a buyer, because you wouldn't, I mean, it's just, that's not where buyers look, right? Buyers look on the internet. And if you're going to do a just listed postcard, you're clearly just mailing it to the owners of houses, which would be sellers. And if you're looking for a buyer, wouldn't you be marketing on Zillow or Trulia, or because they dominate search, right? Like, to me, come on.
Okay. Yep.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
It's interesting because marketing, I'm okay.
But I mean,
I'm
circle
okay with marketing.
Circle calling is the same thing, or calling canceled and expired. Those are all.
But circle calling when you have an open house to try to bring people into your open house, is that marketing for you, or is that marketing trying to sell the house?
That's marketing for you, because you're only calling the 200. What is it? I mean, I can't think of a time that I had a buyer. I mean, I've only sold about 2,000 houses where they moved 4 doors down. Or they moved 8 doors down. And that's what circle calling.
I'm sorry, where they moved 8 doors down and they didn't know that the property was for sale until somebody called them on the phone and said the property is for sale, right?
So
because open house signs brings in neighbors.
Well, but the challenge of it is that could it work? Is always for all those things.
It works.
Works.
I love it.
It works. Yeah. So to me, realtor marketing for the 18, 19 years that I've been in the business is that's how everything is sold to agents.
All you need is one deal. All you need is one deal, Jeff, and it'll pay for this.
Right. And
if you hear that run.
And they have one person that they found out of 1 million calls that bought the neighbor's house. So it worked. For that one,
all right. So then let's talk about.
Let's just not fall prey to that, right? It is a marketing show. I don't want people falling.
Agreed. But when I don't know what else I could do, and somebody knocks on my door and says, "I'm going to help you market. It's only going to be $30 a month, and you're going to send postcards to these 200 people," and you don't know what else to do, you say yes.
Yeah, but you're lazy, right? Like, come on, really? You think that here's just like. You think that you're going to get rich by someone calling you and selling you financial services?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Like,
no.
Like, you really think that it's going to be like, to me, we don't do any of those things is why we're talking about them. Because it's poppycock. I mean, I've done just.
We've tried them.
Yes. It's just that they're less. Their effective rate is so little that we don't want anyone else to waste any more time doing it. The other thing is if you make your business circle calling or calling canceled and expired, the frustration that agent experience often causes them they don't want to do it anymore. And to me, don't do things that you want to bang yourself in the head. Like, we're trying to create a real estate career. So we want to teach them inbound marketing and things that are in favor of their consumers so that they can increase their business by 1,700% like we did.
Yes. Okay. But still, people, when they come to this marketing series, I think that they're here because they want to know what they should do in order to meet more strangers.
Well, that's the second. So this is something that they should stop, is the belief that the best marketing is to strangers.
Well, they just want to meet more strangers. Like, what's the best way to meet more strangers? And when we talk about, I mean, I don't know, what do you think the best way is to meet more strangers for most agents out there that are listening to this?
I would say an open house.
An open house all day long, right?
But that's not.
But that's you trying to sell the house. That's actually you trying to sell the house because you know we need more people to walk through the front door of that property if we're going to get interest in that house.
It just happens to be a benefit of me driving more traffic for my sellers, which actually helps sell the house. Is the most traffic through a house.
Yes.
Yes.
The other way to meet, I mean, it's interesting. The other way we talk about meeting strangers is going to new groups where you are not familiar with the people, right? Like join your HOA if you don't know the other members in your HOA, or join the tennis club, or join like, what can you do in your town to get out and meet new people?
Well, we believe in the relationship aspect of it, and that is going to create more fruitful business from strangers. Yes.
I think that all right, so then here's the deal is before you focus on how to meet more strangers, I think the more important side of your marketing is how do you communicate with the people that you've already met?
Yeah. I mean, focus is we're done the stop and now we're on the focus, and the focus should always be on increase the size of your sphere and then make sure that everybody knows how great of a job you're doing.
Yes.
Yes.
And communicating with people that you've met, because even if you do marketing that introduces you to new people,
you're still going to have to
good at communicating with people that you've met.
That's an interesting, isn't that a freaking hilarious?
Yeah. Like what comes first?
I don't want to market to the people I know, because that's the most common thing we hear from people that we meet with is, oh, I don't want to do that. But then you're going to market and meet new people, which you're going to have to.
Which then you're going to not market to?
There's no follow-up. Yes, is the thing is why, because I think it's the turning over of a new leaf. These people, I'm going to be my best version of me now with them. These people know my consorted past. So I don't know that they're going to believe that I could be a good marketer, and I don't like to work with people I know, but everybody you work with, you know.
Yes.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, like, so when we're talking about focus, don't come to, I mean, because here we have people that sit across the table from us when we interview agents, when we do our classes or whatnot, and they want to know how they can meet new strangers. Like, what is going to make their phone ring off of the hook? And I say, okay, great. Before we get into that, let's say that your phone does ring and somebody asks you a question about real estate. Then what does your system look like that communicates with them over the next, 12 months?
And they're like follow-up boss. They're like,
oh, I assign him to the drip campaign that comes with my website, or follow-up boss. Whatever you mean.
I bought a newsletter and it came with.
I paid the $49 for the guy that
and now I get the drip campaign.
Yes.
Oh, you mean,
and it's canned, and it is like
it all is going back to because that's easy. They were sold that it was going to be. I was going to do a drip campaign that was going to have targeted emails that was going to make my phone ring.
It was going to
for
just $20 a month.
Yes, $30.
It's going to draw the cats out of the woods. Yeah, right.
Don't fall for that, because that's poppycock, right? Like, to me, the hard part is because then they research drip campaigns, and then they're down a road of wasted time. And can we? Any questions out for the audience?
So for those of us that are on our podcast that are listening to this, we record this in a public Zoom room format. So we have right now 20 people that are on the screen with us. They're watching, they're listening. And every now and then we like to go to them and say, hey, what questions do you guys have?
Do we ask them, how many of you pay for a newsletter? How about that as a question? How many of you currently...
Who has a newsletter?
Like maybe we should have a newsletter burning event. Everybody will bring in. Do you want to tell your Joanne Cal? I got to tell Phil's story. So we started on this trail of making fun of, because the newsletter is what is the most sold marketing tool to keep up with your database that's out there.
Yeah, and sometimes it's an e-newsletter.
And it may be slightly better than doing nothing, but unfortunately it replaces your emphasis of actually communicating with the people you know versus just oh, I know them, so I can send them crappy stuff and they'll call me.
Because at least they know my name.
Yep.
My name's out there.
Because one of the most successful agents in the Phoenix area also bought one of these crappy newsletters. And we had Google pay-per-click advertising because they put the newsletter on the web, and then our ad was showing in the newsletter because that newsletter company sold advertising that happened to have so they sent a newsletter to their sphere with our ad. Like, that's the problem about using these services, because if it's too cheap, it's not going to work.
Well, I had one of the canned companies that sends out a newsletter, and in the email it had like different articles, right, to different websites that they didn't own. Like if the in Arizona, for example, if they were coming here and the AZ Central local news station wrote an article about real estate, they would highlight that article in the newsletter, right? And then there was another one and another from house.com about, upgrading kitchens or whatever it is. And one of the ones that came across, one of the linked articles that they had from this canned newsletter went to an agent's website. And it wasn't the agent who sent the newsletter.
Right.
Like the company that was looking for articles that were relevant for today ended up linking it to, I know the guy, John Wake at HomeSmart. Article must have pinged with traffic that day, because all of the realtors that bought this canned content,
realtors were sending all their business to John Wake.
His article to their database, which I thought was funny.
Awesome. All right.
Anyway.
All right. So the message there is stop being lazy by hiring cheap stuff, thinking that it's going to replace you, and actually work on the stuff that we're going to talk about that will actually lead to more clients and more. Yeah.
So sellers. I like drip campaigns. I don't know that drip campaigns is the right word for them. I like email newsletters. I just don't think that email newsletters, your definition versus my definition are the same thing. So let's clarify what we talk to our Mets about.
Okay.
Right? Because our focus is that we still talk to them. We still email them. We still physical mail them. We still text them. Right? But we like to be the ones that generate the messaging.
You use big words. METS.
Mets.
What define that?
So, somebody that you made.
Okay. Are you going to say, so right now we have 1,083 past clients. That's considered a Met, past clients.
Yes.
Okay. And then we have people that we know that that went to my kids had sports with.
Social hacking.
Yeah, you had from your
Rotary Club. Yes. My neighbors.
So, but we've never sold them a house because people are staying in their houses too long. We keep because it's now been 8 years. Like, sell a house by now, right? Like, bullshit. So sphere of influence, right? Clubs you belong to.
Just because you've bought 3 houses in the last year doesn't mean other people do that, as I've been in my house now for 8 years.
Yes. Well, no, we sold the house. I sold one that I lived in for 15. If you were marketing to me since 2006, then the cow would have came home.
Right, you made it.
But the idea is that if it's a sphere of influence, we still need to act. When we sent out the pie invitation for Thanksgiving, so we did for Thanksgiving, we sent it. Did we do it through text or did we do it through email?
Both. Text first.
How many people did we text?
Was
it 900. Just past clients, or did you? But it was
Sphere. But it came out. I mean, you got to understand that our database of Mets with past clients and Sphere, we don't always have textable numbers. So before we get into a little bit, we're getting a little too deep.
Well, you said Mets, and I wanted to define Mets, past clients, Sphere. Does that include open house visitors?
Let's answer that after this quick commercial break.
Okay.
And we're back. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you. Man, that was so funny during that commercial. The jokes you tell off air are better than the ones you tell on air.
Yeah. Right. Tune into the podcast.
If you want to hear the jokes, our public Zoom room all joins into this humor. But if you want to join in on the public Zoom room while we record these, you can go to sibbach.com/careers, and down below you type in your phone number, and then we'll text you a link whenever we come on air. Anyway, all right, so back to open house visitors. If we have an open house visitor that is a Met, they go into our database.
Is it a PPC? When we do Google pay-per-click advertising on the web, and we talk to them, is that a Met?
No.
No. How
I
about
I
a
market to them,
Zillow
though.
lead that one of our buyers agents had an appointment with? Is that a Met?
Yes, but I don't track it that way.
You're not that good, is what you're saying.
I mean, that's a contacted in our system. Yeah.
Is it not a Met? Did our agent not meet them?
Oh gosh. So do I mean in our pipeline in our database
If you were
goes from attempted contacted to contacted.
if you were a solo agent, not a team, if you met that person, it better be in your database. What you're saying is, but once you get to 40,000 people in your database, it gets a little wonky outside. Not everybody makes it into the database, even though we're adding, because I mean, how many people daily are we adding to the database?
A lot, but let me just give you a specific number because we are doing a mailer right now.
Okay, while you're working on it, just for you who are starting alone, just so you know, 273, I looked it up, was the original number when I was in the business I was in the business, let's see, it was 2012. And I finally was going to be like, I'm going to create a database, because I had started one and then I kind of got weak with it. And then the downturn happened and I was like, 2012, we're going to put everybody we know, past clients, sphere, into a database. And my number was 273. And then that day forward, we committed to adding people to the database on it, like open house visitors. I believe we added, because we're talking about marketing.
Yes.
Right. Because the most effective way, if you're going to focus, is on your database. And I'm just talking about how you build your database. So, what orphans?
Orphans.
Oh,
gosh. Right. I don't know that I would recommend orphans. I know, but
well, okay. We were trying to follow the, I think at the time, no, it's because we adopted, there was a very successful realtor. She had sold $1 billion worth of real estate, and she said she added orphans, and we were in a mastermind group with her. But the problem is she was lying to us.
Well,
because she got her business from open houses, not from her. We believed at the time that all of her success came from her being a farmer.
What's an orphan?
An orphan is somebody, when you sell a house.
Is that what you guys were thinking on the public Zoom room? Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you. Yes. So an orphan is that, so I have a listing appointment on
what's the stats?
I'm going to tell you.
NAR says that like 90% of.
I have a listing appointment at 713 East Fillmore Street, Paul. So when I go down and meet Paul and we sell his house, there's going to be possibly another realtor that would bring a person and they would buy that house and they would become the new owner of that house. Now, my seller, Paul, is going to buy another house, but that other person that bought and now has that address saw my sign in the yard. So that's technically a Met, because they came to the open house, they came for an inspection, like they came and saw my sign lots of times. That the hope is that you can then convert that one, because that realtor won't follow up well, and then we'll turn that orphan, because that realtor's orphaning their client because they're not going to follow up, and we're going to pick up that business in the future.
Right. The orphan is the client abandoned by the realtor, because most realtors don't follow up with their sphere.
Past clients.
Not
the stats. 82% of agents don't. So we're just going to assume none of them do, and we're going to pick up this business. But the hard part is
that's a long play.
Well, no. Well, what it is because you're mailing that person, but where is that person searching for a house?
On the web.
Right. So if you don't do hub marketing, even if you do hub marketing, they're still going to Zillow, Trulia.
We spent a lot of time on orphans.
Yeah,
so you asked me a question that I looked up on my phone, and that was in regards, we have a database mailer that we're going to send out. We're working on, I got the design in my text message this morning on what's going to be sent. And so our database our database right now is over 41,000 people. Okay, that's 41,000 people who have either come through any, that doesn't include Met, that includes Mets, but it also includes all of the unmets. That's anybody that has filled out forms on our website or whatnot.
Visited open houses.
Yes. We don't import lists into that. So I don't want you guys to think that that's from canceled and expired imports that we run through calling systems. That's not what we do. We're inbound marketers.
We only, if they have to voluntarily come come to
us.
our marketing.
Yes.
That's how they get in our system only.
Yes.
Yes.
And of those 40,000, how many do you think
So
we have
Greyhawk
physical?
events, when we did the
How many
fall
addresses
festival,
do you think we have for the 40,000 people?
I would probably say around 7,847.
Oh my God! Spot on.
You wrote it down.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I can see.
Yes.
Yeah.
7,847.
I wrote it down.
But when we send out a
'Cause you wrote it
mailer,
down.
when we send out a mailer,
We sent it to 7,800 people. That's an expensive thing.
that's so. Do you send it to all of them, or
It's
do you
not.
pare that down?
No, I wanted you to say it's not expensive, Jeff, because a marketing expense, because we're talking on a podcast, is something that you do that does not get you the equivalent of what you spent in return.
Okay.
So it's why we send it, because we know when we do a database mailer, it is gonna produce 3 to 10 times the amount of money we spend in commission dollars off of the house. That's why we do it.
All right.
It is the thing
Time
we know for sure. So it's a marketing investment, not a marketing expense. Sorry.
Okay.
go ahead.
Good. I love that. Also, I love marketing is not a one-time event.
Right.
So if you're gonna send one thing to these 7,800 people, then don't. If you are going to get on a path of
Better than nothing, but
it's
don't.
better than
Yeah,
nothing,
okay.
but you want to get on a path of communicating with these people,
Yes.
right? And then the other side of it
Well,
is
consistency.
So
So if we
let's-
were going to say anything, it focus. That's why, when you hear people talk about marketing classes, they say focus and then consistency. We're just trying to give them more details. It's database, but it's consistency. You're saying, so how many times are we going to contact the database?
so this 7,800 people. What's interesting is, let's say that mailer costs to get out the door $8,000.
You don't negotiate with the marketing people? That seems like a
$7,000.
No, I was kidding.
$6,000.
I knew it was 7 to 8 grand.
let's
I
call-
was
let's
teasing.
call
I
it
was
7.
teasing. I was teasing.
Yeah, no. If we go we're going color, right? Like we're gonna
Are we
trifold
going-
8.5 by 11 in an envelope with a.
Slow it down. What he said is we're going to take a sheet of paper like this. We're going to put a big graphic on it, not a lot of paragraphs of writing.
Right.
Right. We're going to do a big graphic with a message, both sides.
No.
And then we're going to fold it 3. And then we're going to stick it in an envelope.
Yes. And
And
then
we-
that envelope needs a return address, it needs an address, and it needs a stamp, and it
Okay.
gets delivered.
Okay.
So roughly you're $1 a piece, roughly, depending on what you do.
Good,
You can
yep.
get them for 70 cents a piece. You can pay $1.20 a piece. Anyway, what's
If you
interesting is
use
that
every door direct, or if you use the mail system.
can't use
yeah,
every door
okay,
direct
good.
for database mailer.
You can't.
No.
No.
So what's interesting about that $8,000? I mean, how many people are in your database? Maybe there's 500 people in your database.
Can we get somebody to tell us how many people are in our database? What
Maybe
about
there's-
Sam? Sam, how many people you got in your database?
Maybe there's 50. Like, you know what I mean? How many people are in your database, guys?
Lee, Sean, anyone that wants to participate?
I have 250.
250.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So roughly, for you to send a color 8.5 by 11 flyer to all 250 people, roughly $250. Is
Yeah.
that fair?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
So what's interesting to me is when anybody else want to throw their number out?
I'm at about 165.
165. Awesome. So $165.
Is that including addresses, Sean?
No,
Mm.
probably not.
None, just starting. Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate the honesty. But you know people. I know you know your neighbors, and I know you have your neighbor's mailing address.
So everybody tonight is going to be using Monsoon or their tax record system if they're not in Arizona to start looking up like the
your
importance-
friends,
like if you got free time, turn off. I'm okay with you watching the SEAL Team, but every other TV show out there. Sorry, I just like that one.
turn off
But
the NBA draft.
Yeah, no, the draft was good.
Okay.
That was live. It was, but stop watching so
Hold
much
on,
TV.
hold on, let me get to my
Stop
point.
watching CNBC. Stop listening to radio, and work on your database addresses. Get them all. Look them all up. All your people.
So Lee, if I came to you and I said, "Hey, I got this marketing program that is going to get you some business. It's going to cost $250." Do you think that your budget for marketing has $250 in it?
Yes, but that's not what I would spend it on.
Right. You would spend it on meeting new people.
Right. Or things that will draw their attention. I mean, I'd rather go on social media and instantly friend them and then write down their address if I needed it,
No,
like
my
to
point-
research them.
My point is that the cost to communicate with people that we met is for some reason, it's harder to open the purse strings to pay money. Like it's easier to open your wallet and spend money when you think you're going to meet new strangers. Right? Like when you analyze marketing budgets for teams and for agents, what number is bigger? The number of them loving on the people that they know or the number of meeting new people?
The reason you're talking about it is because you know you're right.
Okay? I know the answer.
Right? Like it's easier to spend $178 on a Zillow zip code
a month,
right?
Than spend $178 communicating with 178 mailing addresses that I have in my database.
Yeah, no.
And it's backwards.
Well, here's what it is there's always, in their mind, it's the opposite. I could do something that's better.
Right.
And you're absolutely just lying to yourself because you can't get over
the other lie to yourself that makes that lie possible is that I met all those people. They're gonna call me if they need anything.
Well,
that's the basis of the lie. And that's just not the reality is some of them will, but most of them won't.
Here's why is because they sent those people
a drip campaign.
No. Better than a drip campaign. Okay. Well, no, because they email marketed, which is even worse than. We think that mail is better than email because you have to. Everybody opens their mail, right?
Well, you can't unsubscribe. You can't
unsubscribe.
Yeah.
All right, but the point of it is that oh man, I almost lost it. They sent them a refrigerator magnet with the Arizona Cardinals schedule on it. And their business is slowly declining. Okay. So Phil, you database mail. I sent recipes. I ordered cookies, and I sent things that were.
First of all, your walnut brownie recipe is better than any one I've ever had. But
he's being sarcastic. I don't cook.
Yeah. But that is a character piece. And so
a custom. If it was what,
dude, your Cardinals schedule is a character piece.
Like it's one of the things.
Yeah,
it's not. I don't need the Thanksgiving turkey recipe and then the Easter bunny, where all the Easter egg hunts are.
Sparklers on the 4th of July.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like it's just the problem is that they're getting lots of that stuff all of the time. And it just gets missed. I mean, the other thing is it's not a part of hub marketing. Phil,
I love character pieces though.
Well, to me, the problem is that I think the reason you call it a character piece is so that they actually get to know something about you that's interesting versus the Cardinal schedule or the Diamondback schedule or yes, people want that, but guess what? It's available on the web for free. That's true. I don't know if you noticed, but the internet is now on everybody's hand in the cell phone. And the fact that you're sending them things that what do you think's better? The one recipe you sent, or if I Google, I got 50
or foodnetwork.com.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Come on, man. My new segment.
Chris Berman? Who's that? Who's coming?
No, it's just
who's Chris?
They do it on ESPN.
I know they do.
Yeah, come on. Well, but I think it's Keyshawn Johnson is the guy that I think is.
All right. So anyway, back to the character piece. It's okay. Like we sent out the text message about pies for Thanksgiving. Is that how we showcase how good we are at selling houses? No. That's how we showcase that we're also nice people. That's why I call it a character piece, is because when you're communicating with your database, you have to send the Happy 4th of July card or the Happy Thanksgiving card or these character pieces that aren't necessarily tied towards how good you are at your job. But you also need to make sure you send out the pieces that showcase how good you are at your job. And I'm not talking about a just sold postcard. I'm talking about a competence piece, right? Like, the fact that rental rates in Phoenix are now 40% higher than they were 3 years ago.
You're talking about market expertise that separates you from and something that's local and specific.
Yes.
That shows that you're advancing your career, that you're watching these things and you are trying to help educate everybody you know, because
Not just happy 4th of July, not just happy Thanksgiving, come get a pie, but here's what we see in the Valley in November. For the last 10 years in the Valley in November, inventory has gone like this, and right now it's going like that. Are you wondering what's happening with prices?
Yeah.
Call me.
Well, it's funny.
And so it's competence pieces. I'm actually good at what I do, not just
Will
sending
the
pies.
market crash after the presidential election because Joe Biden wants to do a home buyer credit? Like, what a great idea in this market. A home buyer, like we need more
buyers.
Yeah, right. Like,
How about a home seller credit?
Yeah.
Can we get some inventory?
Right. I mean, it's funny. I was listening to Lawrence Yun talk, and I was just shocked because he mentioned. It's funny because he mentioned that supply was low, and then he was like, "Oh no, they're going to build enough houses this year to make like that supplies." I'm like. Like you're the NAR economist. Like, don't you understand how far the supply is down that it's just going to be recovered and crazy?
All right. So seller we have is the last point, which what's interesting about database mailers is that sometimes
no. Is there any question that anybody out there?
We've used a lot of words.
Yeah, he used a lot of big words. Any specifics? Carrie, Rachel, Kim,
Nina,
Mike,
Kim, oh, Linda,
Andrew,
Sam. I see you got a mic now, man. Steve Arnold. Does the Sibbach team mail out your database monthly?
No, we don't, because it's expensive to physically mail monthly. And actually, we learned from some of our mentors that when they did it 10 times a year, they took 2 months off a year. They did it 10 times a year. And us, for these physical mailers, honestly, we're like, if I can get to 4, that's a good year. That means that we're doing well.
is that including the gifts?
No, it's different. The gift, like
Well, then
we will physically mail our past clients in Sphere 6 times a year.
Why don't we talk about the different ways that we touch our database? Because we send them mail,
Yes.
right? So let's talk about the 7800, not the thing.
Okay.
So
So
those
the
people-
7800 is not as structured as the past clients. Just so you know.
Agreed. But we send mail. But we also, how often do we send the listings email that Lisa Dane sends out?
Yep.
How often does that go out?
We were at twice a month.
People love, if they're inquiring about your stuff, they love coming soon.
Yes,
Right,
that is
like
true.
coming
But
soon
we were
is-
at twice a month, but email, when
But
we
we're
used to send
including,
emails,
yeah.
when we used to send emails that got a 30% open rate and a 10% click, we sent them on a more regular basis. When
We
our
were
emails-
sending them twice a month at that point.
yeah,
pretty
if not
religiously.
even once a week.
Yeah,
But then we went down to twice a month and then once a month.
Okay, so how often are we texting the people in our database?
All of them?
I mean, at the turn of the year, we did Are You Moving This Year? And then we did one, I believe, when Jim Maurice's son was working for us. What was that text?
Yeah, so we're at probably twice a year that we text if you're going to go for the entire database. That's
Because
a dangerous thing. We're trying to be more targeted than that.
Okay, but we do separate off text to different, I mean.
Subsections. Yeah, if I have a coming soon listing, then I'm going to look for the people in my database that I can tell looked for a property at least in that area or in that price range. Because I don't want to send a coming soon $300,000 single family home in Scottsdale to somebody that's looking for a $1 million house in
But
Glendale.
I'm thinking that if you tell me we're only sending 4 pieces of mail a year, that seems like a little, not a lot.
It is physical mail.
Because we know that marketing's not a one-time event, and we're hitting them with the website, and
Yeah, no, because we focus. I mean, when you think about the amount of business that we get from this crew, this is the crew that we focus on.
okay, all right. So, but I think that's a good point because
This crew being our
the
past clients.
1,083, which is our past client group, we
Yes.
touch how often a year?
We got birthdays. We got a birthday call. We got a birthday card. We've got anniversaries from when they were our client. That is a call. We have 4 times a year that we just call them to thank them for being clients. When it comes to mail, then we're at 4, 5, 6 times a year when
So
it comes
it's
to mail.
text.
It's I mean, obviously this year we didn't invite them to a movie event, but we used to do the movie events. This year's been a little bit funky.
Yeah. Why?
Why? Yeah. Because it's 2020. I don't know. That's
Okay,
just
good deal.
decided that. But you know, the St. Patrick's Day gifts, the Memorial Day candles.
You're not
the-
counting those
they
as
think-
mailers?
Yes, but it doesn't go to everybody. It goes to this. I'm just listing the different
okay,
things.
all
The
right.
pies.
So the group that gets contacted the most is the
past
past
clients
client
and
groups and Sphere. Oh, and
Yes.
Sphere.
Yes.
Okay, good
Yes.
deal. All right.
Because you know, I mean, I've got friends that I may not have sold they live in their house, but they should still get our marketing.
No, I think Sphere and past clients, same. They should get as much, but
Love.
we focus the most on what we think is the high priority, and we're even trying to go to top 100. That's the
Right.
those that referred us a deal. Those are the ones that get the extra love,
Yes.
right? Like because we know that it's weird because there's always that client that you have the greatest rapport with, and they love you, and then they never send you anyone, how much you call them, no matter what, they're just not the referring kind.
True.
They're just not.
Yes.
So we have to call out of our out of our past client, and out of our Sphere, people we have relationships with. We have to identify, because what we work doggedly is tracking where the deal came from, lead source.
True.
I mean, I am a lead source hound.
Yes.
I mean, well, because I know that if you want to grow your business, you have to know where the plant came from,
Where you grow your business. Yes.
where you grow your business.
So when you
But-
meet with agents, where is the number one?
I mean, the
place?
first question I'm going to go to, I got 2 listing appointments this afternoon. First question I'm going to ask them is, how did, actually, because Paul came from our
past client. Oh, our masks.
Our
We sent
mask. We sent masks.
It's right there. It's our past clients. That
Yes, we sent masks for those of you that are watching to all of our past clients, and I got a listing appointment.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know we
didn't have his phone number or his email address.
just had his mailing
We just
address.
has his mailing address, and I, you know, because even though you try to be a good steward of your database, there's just sometimes
Attrition is what it's called.
there's just sometimes that people get in there without every possible contact point identified.
and you should be embarrassed, but it happens.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
good deal.
yes, yes.
But
So
anyway,
Paul called and he was like, "Thank you so much for the mask. You guys sold me this house in 2015, and I'm wondering if I can sell it."
great job, Phil.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No,
Good
that's
deal.
we want more of those.
And I think I'm going to win.
And he hasn't even come to pick up a pie yet.
He does not have an email address.
Okay.
We couldn't
There you
even DocuSign.
So we
him.
wouldn't have this lead if we didn't physically mail our database.
And you know, it's only a $400,000 listing. I mean, you know, it paid for the whole mailer.
Right, that's yes. Oh, all you need is one, Jeff. All right. I
No,
think
but
that-
we know that it's the consistency of hitting the database.
here's I think the biggest wrap up I can possibly give about marketing.
Oh, you're wrapping up.
Isn't it wrap up time? How long have we been going? It's
you've been
1:45.
going on and on.
I know. I can talk, man. I wish you would speak up every once in a while. Is that focus your marketing on getting pieces out the door to people that you have come
Did you
into
just say
contact
rule
with.
of 8?
Rule of 8.
Rule of 8, making sure you actually, because the definition of marketing is not
Isn't designing.
asking your friends.
Yeah.
It's not designing it. It's actually
Publishing
producing it
Get it
out the door. And rule of 8 says, stop getting on with yourself. And that if you set a timeline, get it out the door. And no matter how, as long as it's good enough and it's got a stamp on it, and like, it's better to get it out there than to do,
Then it to be perfect.
than it to be, for it to be perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good deal.
All right, and then step 2 of that is the hard part about sending those mailers is what you just described, though, is the design. What do I send?
Oh, well,
That
that's
is
the number one question.
that's
Right?
the
Like,
number
I'm
one
surprised
question.
someone hasn't asked it yet.
What do I send?
Well, what's your best one?
Yes. What's the magic mailer? It's 12 in a row that
Yeah.
are crappy. How about that?
And our best one was a mask with our name on it.
That was the best one last month. Yes.
But
Our best one this month.
Just to credit to Hub Marketing, it says Sibbach.com on it. Phil, it does not say the broker. Why doesn't it have to say the broker?
Well, because with one click, they can see the broker name.
Okay, because they can only identify us this way, and when they go to see that identification, it says EXP,
EXP,
so
yes.
we're good, right? So yes,
When-
question.
When you get stuff out of the door, when you
Hold
know
on,
you
one
can
of
get
our-
stuff out of the door, then your focus becomes adding more people to that list. The hard part is creating the material. So if you could spend 8 hours creating material, do you want to send that to 10 people, or do you want to send that to 100 people, or do you want to send that to 1,000 people?
And it's because it's a drag to do them. So therefore,
Yes.
you might as well have 300, 400. It's why you should spend the time is because
This-
you want to send it
this
to as
mo-
many people as you can.
This mindset is why the Sibbach team is the Sibbach team.
Oh,
Question.
I thought it was me.
Mike Account said,
It's your
Mike
mindset.
Account said when you are building a farm and using EDD for postcards, how many times a year is optimal?
8.
Yeah, boy, that
8,
is
9. Yeah.
you know what?
We did that.
I love
Okay.
the question.
We
but
did it
if
to
you-
Greyhawk for what? How? I mean, Pinnacle Peak. We did it.
Yeah, we sent it was monthly, and we did 10 a year with EDDM, 8.5 by 11 double-sided full bleed cardstock postcards to the Pinnacle Peak area and to the Greyhawk community. But we did not just do that.
We did
It is
events.
not-
We
that-
did direct mailers.
You
We
have-
did just sold postcards. We did like it was.
You have primary ways to communicate with people, secondary ways
What
that
was
you're
the question,
communicating
though?
with people. How many times? 8.
Okay.
You answered
Yeah.
it. And then there's tertiary and
but
quadrupleary.
more importantly, we
Made that
directed them to a website. We did hub marketing. We never
That's my
sent
point.
anything without. So not only did we had to put custom content on that website, and it is just.
And then we sponsored the schools inside of that farm, and we did the HOA events inside of that farm. It is not just. send
And
the
then we
postcard.
decided that we were going to work on just trying to make more past clients and mailing them because we didn't have to do all that crap to meet strangers.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
because the thing is most agents don't count all of the money that they spend. They sent that mailer, but then they did this, and then they did this, and then they're like, I mean, Shannon Cunningham on the West Side is probably the one that works a farm that is I mean, the hard part is she chose a neighborhood that no one else wanted to be in, right? Like it works better on the
Being
periphery
first.
and being first. Yes.
No doubt.
Yes.
Awesome, guys.
Other questions? All right, that
Thank
was
you
about
for joining.
marketing. Did
Yes.
we tell them what we were going to tell them? Did we do?
I think we told them what we were going to tell them, and then we told them, and
and
now
we're
we're
here.
wrapping it up.
All right.
Thank you for
Happy
coming. Thank you for joining us.
Thursday. Do shit you love.
Adios.
Thank you.